Minor Disturbance Radio, episode 37. I'm Brian Miner, and Jesus Christ, did you see that episode with Mark Dettel? Surprising.
Yeah.
Surprising.
That guy was amazing.
What I want you guys to do is I want you to go back, and I don't want you to watch the whole episode again, but since we put it up, Dettel messaged me and said, hey, I've got all them pictures that we talked about. I should have probably sent them to you before you put the episode up. So the picture of Cliff Burton taking a picture of him and Kirk Hammett, that's up there. It's in the comments now. So if you look at the comments of on our Minor Disturbance Facebook page, in the comments, Dettel put them all up and a little timestamp of where they are in the episode. And I would say that if you enjoyed the episode, go back and look at them now, because we're just talking about it, and to see them, that's pretty cool, right?
Well, the dude was so fucking humble about the whole thing. Yeah,
we were talking about that before the episode. Ted was like, Jesus Christ, that Dettel guy that you guys had on. I mean, you were talking about
who's Ted?
Yeah.
He's like, well, I don't know anybody.
What? Oh, Ted?
Yeah. Who's Ted?
What?
Come on, man. I had this all worked out. I wasn't even gonna introduce him until Anyway,
just start talking.
You were off your cue, man. You were supposed to ask me that like after I said the thing about the Twinkies.
Shit.
Remember?
I'm sorry.
Shit.
I didn't read your notes.
Yeah,
you guys got to back up.
But anyway, our guest this time on the episode is maybe somebody that a lot of the people in the area here may not be aware of, but you will after this episode, and that's what Minor Disturbance Radio is for.
And that's what I like about Minor Disturbance Radio.
It's Ted Renner from the Hong Kong Sleepover.
Thank you very much. A lot of people missed that. No, really, I appreciate that.
Well, I got that because when I was trying to tag you, it wouldn't take just Hong Kong.
Right.
It won't pop up the thing, you know what I mean?
Right.
So you got to put the Hong and then the ho, and it'll bring it up.
Right.
The ho always brings it up.
The ho will get you the rest of the way
every
there.
time.
Well, I always hate it when you have a band name and there's no the in front of it, and people insist on putting a the in front of it.
The Drop Hammer?
The Drop Hammer.
Yeah.
Oh, how long have you been playing in the Drop Hammer, Brian? I don't know why it's always like an old lady.
Well, I still call it the Walmart and the Target and the Maid Right or wherever, the McDonald's.
That happens with age, though.
That's what my wife said.
The older you get, the more you start, are you on the internet again?
The internet.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you smoking the dope again?
Yeah, I'm reading about the Iraq. Again.
Right, exactly. It's always.
But okay, so I promised everybody that I was going to put up some new information about our MDR Jam, and I was going to do it early in the episode so that people didn't have to sit through a whole bunch of us talking gibberish. And anyway, I was sitting around trying to find a way of really bringing the community together in different ways, and I came up with the idea. It's not anything new. I mean, we've been doing jam nights forever, right? And I mean, the Pigpen, or not the Pigpen, but the Clipper used to do them every Sunday,
right?
But
I remember that place.
Yeah, but this was a little different, because what I wanted to do was I wanted to find out what it would be like if we took, everybody knows 1152, everybody knows 3 Years Hollow, everybody knows certain bands that are playing around in the scene, and cover bands too, and original bands. And I thought it would be cool to kind of strip everybody of their band and then scramble them and put them in a blender and then give them an assignment. So. Basically, I took, first of all, I asked certain bands right off the bat, like 3 Years Hollow and 1152, just to see if they'd be interested, just to test the waters. And of course, they were all on board pretty quickly. And then I put it out on Facebook, like, hey, anybody be interested in doing this stupid All-Star Jam thing? And 10 minutes later, we had a full roster.
No, you shitting me.
So
people were like, hell fucking yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if they all really understand the premise.
Right. They don't know what
I'm
going to
explain that to you now.
That's probably why they were so eager to get involved.
Right.
I was on board.
Immediately.
At first, I thought I had a gig that night, so I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But then,
yeah,
I'm up for it.
And please understand too.
Price is right.
Please understand.
We're gonna do this all night.
This is gonna be reference off. It's gonna be reference off. All right. Okay.
And please understand too that there was such I didn't have a chance to hand pick people per se. I asked a couple people right off the bat just to test the waters, and when I put it out there, I put a blanket statement out there of who all would be interested. And this is, I'm not turned off by anybody that responded, but I'm just saying there's some people that didn't get a chance to get in.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of weird to say it's an all-star jam, and then there's so many around here that we all know, and they can't fit them into one. So I'm hoping that we maybe do another one, and then maybe we could get them people involved as well.
Right.
But so what we're doing is we're going to have 7 bands. So I'm taking 4, each band is going to have 4 members. We want a drummer, a guitar player, a bass player, and a singer. and they're all going to be from different bands.
So it's just
in most cases,
4-piece bands.
And what I'm trying to do is see what, say, for example, a band with like, let's see, Wes Weber, Jerry Smith, and Jeff Hazen, and Bill Pfeiffer.
Whoa.
What they would do if I said, okay, pick 3 old school metal songs to cover. What songs they're going to pick and what they're going to sound like. Right? And that's the fun of this. So I'm trying to put people together in kind of a weird mix just to see what we could get, as far as output.
I'm almost just as excited to see what songs people are going to pick, man, because, I mean, obviously there's going to be some real, radio history type songs that'll be there, but I'm really interested to see what the deep cuts are that people go after, the shit off the albums that you don't know unless you're a fan, And I'm
absolutely all for that too.
Yeah.
I guess what I didn't want to have happen was people going all the way back to like, I mean, I guess if you pick Celtic Frost or something like that, I mean, that would be okay, but just depending on who your members are and shit. But I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see the turnout. And usually when you get this excited about something, it usually turns to shit. Like nobody shows
come
up.
On, man. You can't, no.
I don't see how
I don't see that happening.
Yeah,
like
me
that.
either. I don't see how all of us getting together in a room and partying with each other for a night while playing musical instruments and actually having something kind of specified to play. I don't see how that's going to be anything but a fucking blast.
Yeah, if nothing else, there may be no fans. Nobody else may be there, but at least all the musicians will be there.
Absolutely.
Pack the bar by itself,
right? Exactly.
Actually, there's a lot of interest of people. I think that there's a lot of people that understand how special this is going to be.
Yeah.
To see. Get your cameras out because you might not ever see this mixture of people on the same stage again.
Well, when you were talking about the deep cut, what are the deep cuts? People think about, if you go play in a cover band, you go and find covers that everybody likes.
Of course.
But if you didn't give a shit about the people that were in the crowd and you were playing cover music, you would play the songs off the album that you fucking love that never saw the radio.
Right.
I mean, I'm a Stones fan. Everyone was like, "Oh, I always hate the fucking Stones songs that are on the radio." The Stones songs that are great, you'll never fucking hear them play.
Exactly.
Fingerprint File,
2000 Man,
shit like that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway, sorry.
But that's true. You're absolutely right. And musicians are the ones who know.
Right.
Yeah, they're the ones who know.
We're going to get into that in a little bit. I appreciate you chiming in on that, but I want
shut the fuck up.
No. I want to go ahead and list the members of each band that we're going to have of the super groups for the MDR Jam, okay? And as well, Travis and I will both be on stage as well all the time. I think we should sit like kind of behind the amps on either side. That way we can watch it from there.
With scorecards?
Well, we can look at everybody's asses.
Yeah.
And tight jeans are a requirement.
And then after they're done with their 3, then, we can come out and do some more talking. So it's going to be hosted by MDR. So you guys are going to be bored in between songs. There's absolutely going to be nothing to do. So anyway, we'll be there, and I can't wait to do this, man.
Are you going to play?
I'm so stoked about it.
I know you had me play.
You got to play, man.
Well, let's list the people that are...
Okay, here we go.
All right.
Here we go.
All right, so these are the super groups, and we call them super groups just because we're being fun here, right?
It's because we're amazing people.
Yeah, there's 7 super groups in the Quad Cities, right?
Yeah, dude. Capes and the whole 9.
So, okay, so here's the first group. Super group number 1 will be Farley.
Justin Farley.
On drums. Mike Gustafson on guitar. And by the way, everybody wanted to play with Mike, because when I first said, hey, what do you have any idea of who you'd want me to go after to try to get in your band too? And
I know it came out of my mouth.
Mike Gustafson. Yeah. Well, I know it came out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Matt Finn came out of your mouth. But
yeah, that's right.
Anyway, you're getting me on drums, by the way. All right, no, let's start. Okay, Farley, Mike Gustafson, Shannon Ford on bass, and Jacob Gregory on the lead vocals.
Oh, shit.
And they're going to pick 3 old school metal songs to cover for your enjoyment at Rascals Live,
Cannibal
June
Corpse.
6th.
Cannibal
And that's going to be incredible, man. It's going to be incredible. Okay, and then the second band, second super group is Kenny, the owner of Rascals, wanted in on this. He'll be on drums. Paul DePau on lead guitar. Mark Dettel on bass.
Awesome.
And yours truly, Brian Miner, on vocals.
Fucking A.
Okay.
And band number 3 will be Wes Weber, Jerry Smith, Jeff Hazen, and Bill Pfeiffer. And we just talked about that, that grouping.
Yeah.
That'll be supergroup number 3. Supergroup number 4 will be Kevin Sampson on drums, Tony Carducci on lead guitar, Mike DePaul on bass.
Yes.
And Mike Swanson on the lead vocals. Super group number 5. This is gonna be crazy, man. I'm getting goosebumps right now.
I know. Think about these people playing. This is gonna be fucking cool.
It's gonna be a blast. Group number 5 is Steve Merritt on drums, Mike Freeberg on guitar, Dustin Miner on bass, and Matt Truitt on vocals.
Fucking hey, dude! Wow.
Yeah,
that's
that
like
could be very interesting.
Musical Denver omelet. That's fucking awesome.
It's gonna be crazy, man. Band number 6 is Matt Finn on drums, Travis on lead guitar, Steve Krug on bass, and John Kiss on lead vocals.
And they're all dudes that I have wanted to jam with for a while. I'm super looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, you guys, the door's wide open for you guys. You can pretty much, you're not limited to too much with John Kiss.
No, not at all.
So, okay, supergroup number 7 will be Eric Flores from 1152. Guitar player will be Lyle Leftwich from Leftwich.
Yeah, I remember Lyle. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, Leftwich.
Yeah.
Now his last name is Leftwich, but then the band was called Leftwich.
Really?
He moved the T to make the word witch, like
all right,
cast the spells and shit.
So Eric Flores, Lyle Leftwich, Steve Sparks on bass, and Ted Renner on vocals.
I'm down, man.
It's going to be like 1152 and Hong Kong Sleepover and Leftwich all mixed up into one band. And they got 3. So all these bands have 3 old school metal covers to do.
Sweet.
And so now that you know what the bands are, you know what group you're in, you know, get with your people and figure out your songs and let me know as soon as you can, because we don't want any repeats.
Okay.
So,
cool.
You know what I mean? And if we do, and you have to do them songs, then we might have one repeat or something. But
that was what I was because you get like 4 bands, you get up there and every one of them does some Motorhead song or the same. Everyone does Ace of Spades or Master of Puppets or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So that's how it works, man. I hope everybody has fun with it, and it's an excuse for people that don't work together, regularly to kind of put things together. Now, I don't think that any of these bands are going to need to get together and rehearse. I'm not looking for this to be you're throwing down covers like a motherfucker and you're going to be perfect at it. As a matter of fact, the first band that train wrecks gets a bonus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I want to see train wrecks. I want to see people go on a limb. You know what I mean?
Fuck up points.
Yeah.
Although, the only reason why I want to do it is not, personally, you know me, Brian, I think the preparedness is highly overrated. I just want to get in a room with those dudes and fucking rock out and just have an excuse to do it and be like, oh, we just need to jam. I guess we better get together and rehearse. Yeah. I want to jam with all those guys. So.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you don't have to. I'm not expecting everybody to play perfect. I mean, I'm not even expecting everybody to pick 3 songs that are difficult to do. Just pick 3 fucking metal songs that will be fun and that, you guys can all jam together and it'll be easy, because I don't want you to take, too much time to learn anything too crazy. Just
we're
something
doing
fun.
Bohemian Rhapsody, and we're doing Carry On My Wayward Son, and we're doing Metropolis from,
Like I said, this is just all about fun. I want everybody in there.
Might as well if you're going to go.
I want everybody smiling and everybody having a good time and nobody comparing like who's better. There's no contest here. We're not scoring anything. It's all about thank you for being a part of this. And what it's doing is it's helping Minor Disturbance Radio be recognized as an entity, and it's also going to help all the bands that are involved, because I'm working on getting some newspaper press and maybe some radio, some real radio, some real radio.
Real radio.
Come on, you are real radio.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm real excited. I was real excited that people wanted to join, and I was blown away by the reaction and how quick it was. You sitting there. I'm sitting there at the computer. I'm like,
what about this?
Okay. Hey man, you think you'd want to be on this MDR All-Star thing? Send.
And chirp,
I'm in.
Chirp,
yep.
Chirp.
Bing, I'm in. Okay.
And every response, his asshole would untighten one
just
notch.
a little bit.
Yeah, and then I start getting cocky
It's
about
like
it.
his fucking f-stop.
Yeah,
another diamond and Fallout.
I can't wait. Like I said, that's June 6th, and it's going to be a blast. So go ahead and RSVP now, because I'm not sure. I think that thing might possibly sell out.
You think so?
Well, there's already, without even really promoting it that much, I mean, I put the little thing up, and it's already, close to 100 people that are going to be in there. So,
well, I mean, I know you try to kind of downplay the whole supergroup idea about it, but everybody that's out there, one way or another, is not only known by the person that is, coming there to see them or whatever, but they also have some inkling about who the rest of these people are, and I'm sure there's going to be a ton of people to be excited to say, wow, we're going to see these people on stage together. Yeah, that's going. Whoa. Well, I always wondered.
You guys, just for example of some of the people that were willing to do it and were in, but I just didn't have room, because once people said that they were going to do it, I can't just, well, sorry, dude, somebody else took your spot, and I wouldn't do that. That's not what this is about, But some people, what it basically boiled down to is who responded the quickest,
right?
And then that's kind of what happened. I mean, the guys in 3 Years Hollow couldn't commit. They wanted to do it. They said, yes, we are in, but I don't know if we'll jump on a tour in June. We might, and if we do, obviously we'd have to change things. But as it is right now, we can't. So I couldn't commit to that.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So maybe next time we can get a commitment and see a band that with some 3 Years Hollow guys and mix them up with some 1152 guys.
That'd be cool.
Or whatever, whatever the case may be. I mean, John Nelson from Cheese Pizza was going to be in there. Terry Hodges from Drop Hammer.
Oh, yeah, Terry.
All these people that...
Damn it.
You kind of... They were all in.
7 is too few bands. It's too few.
Yeah.
But it's probably even too many.
Oh, there's people waiting. There's people waiting that we'll have to get next time. Yeah,
we'll just have to do it again, man.
Doug Brundy's wanted to be a part. I mean, there's the list goes on. There's so many people. And I was like, what are we going to have, like 20 super groups? Yeah. We can't do that. So we're gonna do it this way this time, because they responded the quickest. And then... I know that if we did it again, as long as this goes well and everybody has fun, I'm sure we'll do another one.
I think it'll be outstanding, man. I really do.
Yeah.
So
I'm super looking
cool, man. Well, thanks for everybody being a part of it, and we're gonna get on with the podcast now. So
I thought the podcast was over now.
What?
I felt us winding down. I was like, whoa. I'm gonna edit this to be at the end.
So check it out. Let me get to Ted here and how I know Ted. A long time ago, obviously everything that happened in my life is always a long time ago. I was in a band with him called, what do we call ourselves?
Split Personality.
Split Personality, but Split Personality was a band before I was there. Mm-hmm. And it was actually the original bass player from Drop Hammer, Tony Higbee, was in that band.
Right.
And that in the transition when I was kind of getting him in Drop Hammer, his heyday was Split. You guys were packing clubs.
It was Split Personality. Excuse me, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Split Personality broke up, and you and Stoney were playing in some other band with some guys from Keokuk.
Okay, yeah, we were in a Dead Giveaway.
Yeah,
or something like that.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah. Minimum Rage.
That's it.
Okay, now we've covered. Sorry, we'll get to the point here in a second.
And I know that Stoney called me one night. I always called Tony Stoney. He called me and said, you guys were playing some bar, and I went to see you, and your lead singer passed out. And you guys were like, fuck this, man. And I think like 2 days later it was, hey, why don't we put Split Personality back together and you call Brian and see if he wants to be in the band. Because watching you play with that Minimum Rage, I was like, holy shit, this guy's fucking incredible. Yeah, that's what I remember.
I was good. I was good because that's all I did. You know what I mean? That was the I was telling you when you got here, it's like you knew me when I was in my prime.
Oh man.
Yeah, right.
When I was like Colin Keemley age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was just that's all I did.
It was it. Wake up in the morning, you think about guitar, you play guitar.
If I'm not playing guitar, I'm reading Guitar Player magazine.
Smoke, drink, play guitar.
Yeah.
Watch TV,
whenever
play
you were
guitar.
over at my house, you were always walking around with your guitar. Was that one? The white one? Or was that an old one?
That was one of them.
One of them, yeah. But you always had the fucker around your neck, and it was like, okay, I got to take a shower.
Yeah.
You can put that down.
Yeah, exactly. It would warp the wood.
Well, okay, I remember coming to see Split Personality when you guys had mentioned, maybe I could... And you guys had the bars packed, and you're sweaty. You know them gigs, man, where you're sweaty, you're playing all cool stuff. You're not playing any dance stuff, but the crowd's still into it and packed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're not playing Jesse's Girl and playing to the girls and all that shit.
You were playing
rock songs and killing them, and it was cool. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be kick ass. And on top of that, then I looked at the guitar player that I'm going to have to probably replace. And this guy is like the most gorgeous guy you've ever seen in your life. Perfect hair, like them perfect symmetrical square pec muscles. With, you take your shirt off in the middle of a song and fucking, I'm like, really? Come on, man. How am I gonna, what the fuck?
Dude, the women used to fall all over Chad. I mean, crazy. Like, you got the kind of the Brad Pitt lips and stuff like that.
Oh, my God. I wanted to make out with them. And I don't like guys at all.
But no, we always had killer crowds. I thought when you were playing with us, it was a different market.
It was okay.
Yeah. No, come on, man. You're selling yourself short.
But see, here's what's crazy. And the people that are in bands now, and how the environment is in bands, and when you're picking songs, I mean, think about it. I mean, let's take it back to that day. I mean, when you're putting a band together and you're going to play covers.
Yeah.
a bunch of 20-year-old guys, new guys coming into the scene. You know what? We're gonna do everything different. Fuck dance songs, man. We're gonna play the shit that we like, the B-side stuff, the cool stuff, man. We're gonna take over.
Right.
Yeah, and we learned how that worked. You know, we were picking songs like Tesla. What Tesla song would we do if we were gonna do a Tesla song? It would be like, making my way through this jungle today.
Yeah, we did that one.
What is that? Getting better.
Yeah,
we would do, like you said, Regular People, Pantera. We're picking all these songs that just were like college girls would be like, let's go down the street somewhere.
Exactly.
else,
Oh yeah, we did some Dream Theater, but it wasn't Pull Me Under. It was like the next one.
It was Another Day.
Yeah, that's it.
We did Another Day, and I sang it.
Yeah, and I played keyboard, which was a dismal failure on my fucking part to ever try and fucking do.
He would go from playing keyboard in Another Day by Dream Theater to playing guitar and singing and shit and like Regular People or Pantera song or something, strobe
Or
lights
we
going
even
off.
play B-side Metallica, like No Remorse and shit like that.
Right,
and
dude.
it's like there's 5 people that know that Metallica song, and the rest of them are like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, right.
So
but it was when Load, it was right about the time that Load was popular. So you're playing stuff off their first album, and they're going, what was the one that they always used to fucking want us to play? Not Enter Sandman, but
They probably wanted you to play like Whiskey in the Jar.
Yeah.
Well, I could cut in some video. I played it before, some video of Split playing at what bar was that?
That was the Pace.
It was the Pace.
It was the Pace.
And that's the big college draw in Macomb, man.
They don't have bands there at all anymore. It's all just dance music. It's all just
it was coming, man. I sensed it.
Yeah.
I sensed it, man.
Yep.
Because I would remember we'd go up there just to hang out. We'd go into the bar on a Saturday night that there wasn't any rock bands, and they had some, like, it was like Village People. Some band like Village
That's right.
People.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
And we were going, and it was packed. And there we stand in our rolled pants and our, high top shoes and shit going, what's happening?
Yeah.
Something's fucked up, man.
And it's gotten so much like that. Like there's one bar that we play in Macomb. It's called the Cafe. And when we go there, we usually only play there about once or twice a year, and we get a good crowd. But the rest of the time in Macomb, nothing. Now we cross the river into Iowa. People fucking love us, and I don't know what happens. I don't know what the magic line is in the middle of the fucking Mississippi, but we can't. And people go, "Where are you guys from, Macomb? You guys got to play a lot of good shows there." Never. I mean, seriously, man. So I wish there was more, but
So I turned 42.
I saw that yet another lap around the sun on planet Earth had elapsed since
Happy
you emerged
42.
from
Thank
your
you.
mother's vagina.
42 years old, man. And so what happens?
emerged or was ejected, one of the two.
Well, see, that's the thing. In the Chinese culture, they actually begin your age from the time of conception, not from the time that you actually.
How do
come
they
out
know
of your
that?
womb. See, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. That twinkle in somebody's eye.
I don't know, man.
So like technically 3 months after you're born is your first birthday?
Yeah, I would something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so they're saying when you're born, they just add on the 9 months already.
There you go. Yeah, but
That'll
hey, I
work.
mean, it's arguable that they know a little bit about reproduction over there in China.
Yeah.
They're pretty prolific when
We
it
got
comes
about,
to the subject.
3 times as many of them as we do?
At least. So anyway,
You guys are so damn knowledgeable.
happy birthday.
I
Thank you
told
very
you I
much.
was... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so, but I remember, the first 20 birthdays were kick-ass. And, something was coming down the road like, hey,
Yeah.
man, 21, I can go drinking and do all
Yeah.
the shit.
Right.
All the things.
Yeah.
Everybody's talked about that before,
Yeah,
how
sure.
this shit. But then after that, there's nothing.
Right.
All right, at 25, like my insurance went down.
Right?
Right. And then, some bullshit happened at 30 and like some heartbreak happened at 35 and some, all that stuff that happens to you when you get old. But then, for all the people that don't have kids, and I'm sure that some people do have kids.
No kids.
No kids. See,
You don't
like
have any kids? Wow.
No kids,
And
no
you-
marriage,
and-
never.
And you
nothing.
don't plan on it, do you?
I did. After the last relationship that I was in tanked, I kind of looked at my watch and I said, yeah, 41. It's out of the picture.
Little-
It's just
little too
slowly
late.
being erased off the fucking board.
You're gonna
So,
ride,
you know.
you're gonna
But
have
I
to,
say that, and
modify your
now
schedule.
I'll be like Charlie Chaplin, and I'll be having kids when I'm in my fucking 80s. You know.
Right.
Well,
That'll
what's
be
cool?
weird.
What's cool about the birthdays now is they start to get fun again. Is because when you have kids, you know, because I have a
Yeah.
4-year-old that was super excited about my birthday.
Right.
Hey, stay with me here. This is some man shit here.
Well, he still thinks it's like his birthday.
This is some real man shit here. So, like, you know, what happens is when you get 42, your daughter wants to go get you presents, you know, and the mom says, "Hey, let's go get Daddy what you think he needs for his birthday."
right.
And what happens is you get a kazoo
Right.
because
Brilliant
you know my
musical
daughter thought
instrument.
Daddy needed one
Yep,
of them.
it's a musical instrument.
And a slinky.
Yeah.
Okay, these are what you start to get when you're 42 years old for
That's
your
right.
birthday,
That's
and
right.
they're awesome. This is man shit. Stay
This
with
is good.
All right. So, and you know, they paint a car for you.
Ah,
See? It's kinda
tie-dye.
Yeah,
it is.
and then
It
a
is
sheet.
kinda
I needed
tie-dye.
a tambourine
Oh, you got
in
a
case we
little
start to rock
tambourine.
out in
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
You know, this is all stuff for minor disturbance radio too.
Oh, for sure.
You know, in
For
case
sure.
we
It's a tax write-off. It's a tax write-off.
exactly. So
That's
you
right.
know, and of course some some chocolate money and stuff. So this is what happens when you get older, right here.
But see, it's instruments. She
Yeah.
knows you. He,
Right.
He,
Yeah.
he, right?
Yeah.
Was it
He
the boy
knows
or
you.
the
He
girl?
loves you.
So
Was the
and
boy.
well, my daughter's the one that picked all this out.
Oh, I
my
see.
my
Okay.
son's only one, so he can't really pick anything out
I
yet.
gotcha.
And if he does, he'll eat it. But that's what happens when you get older and you have kids. You know what I mean? And there used to be you'd get like Kiss records and get pedals and stuff.
Yeah.
This is so much better.
Yeah, an
So much
Ibanez LA metal pedal, you know. 'cause
So
they
when
were
you get old
35
like
bucks a
me
piece.
and you have kids and stuff, if you ever do that, then that's what you have to look forward to. I'm pretty excited about
I
it.
think you ought to be, man. Especially that chocolate money. I mean, that stuff highly spendable.
You better
Yeah.
be hiding that car before I leave.
Oh yeah, yeah,
be
yeah,
hiding
yeah.
that
You
It's
car.
all
gotta
right.
drive that fucker
I'm
home.
gonna go home with
So
me.
I see that you
skateboarding
brought
that
you brought one of these.
I
Ted.
brought that
Ah.
because I want you to sign that copy.
Let's see. I don't even know if I. Oh, you didn't even. The CD's not even. Oh, you already got
The CD's
Terry
not in there.
Hodges.
The CD's not there because I was listening to it in the truck on the way up. But you're going to sign that one.
You already got
I got
Terry
Terry's
Hodges.
on that one,
You got to
yeah.
get Tony Higbee, who's the actual real star, And then
I probably could have done that. But
good luck getting Styles.
right.
But
Styles, yeah, fuck.
yeah. See, so you had Tony Higbee in Split Personality, and I
Right.
was working with him, and I ended up starting Drop Hammer
Right.
with him. And since then, he's moved on, obviously, to do way better things than I could ever dream of. He's been on Letterman, and
Right.
and he's the
Touring-
guitar player
touring
for
with Kiefer,
Tom
yep.
Kiefer, yeah.
Mhm.
So congratulations to him too. By the way, like he actually watches this thing, but if he did,
Now,
congratulations, man.
so when Stoney was at my house a couple of months ago, we're sitting there, and it was about 2 a.m. We've been drinking, and everyone was kind of starting to leave or pass out or whatever. I was like, okay, I got to do this. And I turned my TV on. I got I have the man cave in the basement. Turned TV on, and I started playing one of the episodes of Minor Disturbance Radio.
Okay.
And I was like, this is what Brian's doing, man. And he was like, you dig it? And I said, fuck yeah, I dig it. And I was telling him, you get these people on, they talk about all this type of stuff, the same stuff I was talking to you about a little bit ago. And he was like, that's fucking sweet. He's thrilled that you're doing this. And he told me, he was like, if you go on the show, if you talk to Brian or whatever, tell him, that was a long time ago. No hard feelings. Everything's cool. Whatever.
Fucking
so,
A.
I appreciate
So,
that.
yeah.
Let me explain
Healing
what
hearts on
what
Minor
happened in
Disturbance
there.
Radio.
right?
So-
So you want to hug? No, I'm just
let
kidding.
me take you for the ride, through that whole thing, just so that people understand. And I think that everybody will, because we're all musicians and we've all had that same dream,
Right.
Yeah.
When you finally find that band that you think is going to be the band that you make the run with, and everybody's like brothers, and when everybody's on the same page and they all believe in the same thing, and the kind of like, okay, this is starting to happen. You find the right members and they're in, and all that stuff. Kind of like MDR. You start to find people slowly, and then all of a sudden you've got this band of people, a gang, and young attitudes clash. Too many hands in the cookie jar. We were both very creative. Tony's super talented, and I had my vision, he had his vision, and that both of them just kind of didn't connect all the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Creatively. So
I'm with you.
he quit the band in the middle of, and I'm not saying I'm not guilty of making it happen. I could have been,
Right.
but he quit the
Right.
band in the middle of recording our first fucking record,
Right.
So we're in the
Right.
studio, all the money we scraped up to do this CD,
And then you drive the man out halfway through.
whatever happened. But, your heart breaks, man.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, losing a guy in your band is almost equal to losing a girl.
Yeah.
Right.
Getting a divorce.
And you do stupid shit. Just
Yeah.
like, when the girl breaks up, you park out in front of her house and like plan on, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You want something. You feel like you want something back, or and I'll say this from watching the show. You've talked a lot on the show about how you feel about a performance and how you feel about how a lot of these things should be executed. And a level of perfectionism. And I got to tell you, I wish I would have seen the show 20 years ago before you and I started playing together, because I think that I think that I thought 20 years ago, in the middle of a practice or in the middle of a show, if you did something, I was like, Brian's being a fucking asshole. But now, and like I said, after watching the show and after hearing you talk about some of this stuff, I go, oh no, it wasn't an asshole thing. It was a perfectionism thing, and you wanted to, you're wanting to make the performance, you want to make the show so much more for the people that are watching the show. And I also think that that's what you did with the album. You were wanting to take everything you were feeling and put it there. And I think that there was just a conflict,
What I was trying to do is I was trying to impress dudes like Travis and you and all my peers. I was like trying to prove that I was a viable musician.
That's what I mean. Right. And that's what I was going to say, is that really a lot of times assholishness, really, kind of as a catch-all kind of broad brush that you can paint, really is just the clashing of insecurities between people. It's not that one person is being an asshole or whatever. It's just that somebody's committing an action that's coming from an insecure place. Perfectionism generally for us came from an insecure place. Now, the great thing about it was that during that time, even though it wasn't coming from the greatest place, man, we were getting good at guitar. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? We were fucking practicing all the time, going to get great at it. But
you guys are great for the record.
But there comes a time, though, when you start to get a little older and you start to realize that you're really actually killing yourself with that shit, man. Yeah. You're destroying your art. You're trying to make it into something that it isn't and can never be.
Turn it into a sport.
And it's ruining your fucking relationship with people,
the great bands that we grew up listening to, let's just go to the main one.
No, the vibe was toxic.
Just to go to the top one.
Yeah.
Like Metallica. Do you think that Kirk Hammett and Hetfield would be at rehearsal and like they're doing the harmony in some song and they just can't quite get it? That's enough. That's close enough. We'll fix it in the studio.
No.
When we go on, you see what I'm saying?
Have you ever watched Some Kind of Monster?
Oh yeah.
They hurt each other bad, man. They hurt each other bad. It took them getting older and realizing
that's because that band lasted too fucking long. That band needed to break up in 1996.
I agree with you. But part of it is because, if we're talking about metal, we are talking about how it is that a person uses images of strength and imperviousness to danger in order to cover up as a way to politicize and get out ahead, like propaganda, to get out ahead of their personal insecurities, man. And every guy that I've ever known that was a metalhead always started there.
It's happened to me so many times in band practice, and the one thing, I've learned my lesson a couple of times in this band. I'll say that this is exactly how I want it to be. And I go in and somebody says, what if we try this? And I'm like, no, fuck you. We're not trying this. We're not trying this.
I've told you. I told you. And
then they go, let me just fucking try it.
Yeah.
And they try it and you go, oh, that sounds a million times better than anything I would have fucking thought of.
Wow.
And the first time that happens, you at least with me in this band, and as a grown up, the first time that happened to me, I went, I don't know every fucking thing there is to know, and you start, there's a little crack in there right there, and you start letting different ideas come in, and you're not dominating like that.
Right.
So,
certain bands can do that where the writing is coming from one or two people and everybody else shut up.
Yeah.
This is, let me get to what I think is what I like about Hong Kong Sleepover, because I'll be honest.
Please do.
The whole, music to me anymore is so hard to catch my ear because I've been spoiled. Yeah. In the 80s and 90s of a lot of really brilliant, if you're talking about like musical and like shredding and all that stuff and all these complex things to do, I've been spoiled. And Hong Kong Sleepover is the antithesis to complex. It's straightforward beer rock, down in your face fucking and that's what I like about it is that you guys picked the direction, even though it wasn't the most popular one to take, and just drive that train right through the fucking, right through the wall. And I admire that because that's something that, and I'm not saying I don't like your music. What I'm saying is it's not the popular choice.
Right.
Well, I like it because it has the trappings of metal, But for one, save one, which is the humorlessness that a lot of fucking metalheads have about metal.
I've told people we're like Motorhead meets the Monkees, because we're always trying to make jokes and videos and stupid shit and whatever, and not take ourselves too seriously. You know, I mean, there's got to be a level. There's got to be a level where you're like, okay, got to be professional, but at the same time, fuck it, you know, make jokes, drink High Life. Who gives a fuck?
Right.
So,
you know?
And that's what I noticed from your videos too, is it seems to come from kind of a humorous angle. There's not too much serious shit going on. And by the way, the guys in your band they all have their own character. I was looking at a picture of your band, and talk about branding and characters. I mean, you guys definitely have 4 unique individuals there that in the same room you're jealous. You're like, man, I wish I had a fucking band like that.
Yeah, exactly.
You just picture in your head, their practice must be like everybody just kind of shows up, does a shot of something, nods at each other, just and it just happens. And then everybody does the bro knuckles. And they go like this and they go home. You know what I mean?
A lot of Miller High Life in band practice. A lot of warm
Miller High Life.
Typically, what we do is we set a 12-pack in the middle of the floor and let it warm up, and by the end of practice, it's gone.
There are a few things more fetid and bitter and fucking garbagey, fucking dumpster juice tasting than warm Miller High Life.
I gotta say,
and that is why I drink it, dude.
For a second there, I was like, oh man, Ted, I'm gonna have to try. When you guys when you did the video where you spit it out and all that shit, like, it's in my eye, dying laughing.
Yeah,
I mean, we played it on the show.
That was hilarious.
When we played that part, maybe we should play that video. Maybe we should cut that in and then in post and put that video right there. What do you think?
I'm good with it, man.
You want to play that video?
Yeah, I think that's fucking fantastic.
Cool, let's do that. Boom, pow.
So we've been nominated for the Ice Bucket Challenge.
Oh, isn't that thing where we have to dump a bucket of ice water over our heads or donate $100 to the ALS Foundation?
What? No. That's not even a thing.
Yeah, Pete, quit making stuff up and let the man finish.
Anyways, I think we just have to drink an entire ice down bucket of beer that isn't Miller High Life.
It sounds like Miller High Life.
Oh, it's not gonna be bad. It's not gonna be bad. It's not gonna be bad.
Oh, it's horrible! Oh, it's in my eyes! Oh, my eyes! I can't see! Oh. Screw it, it's worth it to drink High Life.
Seriously, guys, this does sound like High Life. Here's your ice bucket challenge!
Jesus.
All right, we're back. The video was awesome.
What a great video!
The weird thing is,
creative.
There's not one person in the band that comes with that sense of humor. There's not one person that comes in. Like, I think Waylon wrote that one, and then there's one where we're in a gym doing a promo, and I wrote the one for that, and then there's one where we're outside and it's all black and white. I don't know if that was fucking like 8 minutes long, but I think that was all Pete. We used to do radio promos, and Pete would come in with a yellow pad of paper and go, "You're gonna say that, and you're gonna fucking say that, and you're gonna say," and we were like, "Okay." So it's coming from different angles.
Yeah,
that's great though.
But it's cinematic.
Yeah,
I mean, that's cinematic.
It's so fun.
Well, because you're adding that level of, you're letting the audience know that, hey, we don't think that we're reinventing the wheel here. What we think what we're doing is having a good fucking time, and you're invited.
Yeah.
So if you're down for having a good time and let us play some loud rock and roll while we all just go like this and drink beer together, there you go.
Yeah,
so that's what it's about, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be famous. I mean, I gave up on trying to be famous a long time ago because I'm not going to put on eyeliner. I'll never wear a pair of leather pants.
Now you realize that's gotten you this much closer to actually pulling it off, right?
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean?
Ish.
Not caring about it. That's when you should like play the lottery, when you don't give a fuck about the numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that's exactly.
But it's what I care about is just kind of like what you said. We're just going to sit around, we're going to drink beer, and we're going to have a good time. And it's gotten to the point anymore where, if we're playing like a 10 song set, it's "Hi, we're the Hong Kong Sleepover," and the next time I speak is "Good night," You know, like Pete was telling me he saw some band one time where they go, "We don't fuck around," and they just played their set and threw their guitars down and walked off stage. And so we're slowly kind of working toward that. But
yeah. Me and Farley did, and actually it was all the guys in Marianas at the time. We never said a word. We played through our entire set, and then at the end, we just held out our fists.
nice.
And nobody knew what the fuck we were
do.
at. Yeah, they were
So
just
like, okay, so
This
so
is the
you
dumbest
so you
fucking
choreographed a fist pump,
it was just,
but you guys practiced it. Tell me you didn't practice it.
we
at your
never practiced it.
You never?
Just said we were going to do it. All right, this is what we're doing.
Nah, you guys
do
are
this.
practicing. Okay, let's try it one time. Because one day,
Make
one
sure we
guy
get
would
the
have,
angle
like
right.
two dudes have the right hand out, and one dude would have like the left
hand, be like, what are you,
which
Paul
one?
McCartney?
Which one?
What the
It's the wrong
fuck's wrong
angle.
with you?
It's the wrong angle.
No, but you know, everything you were saying reminded me of this analogy, and I don't know if I've delivered this analogy on Minor Disturbance Radio in the past, but it is very much like when you're young, you believe wrestling is real, like professional wrestling is real, but then when you get older, you still enjoy it, but you enjoy it for a completely different fucking reason, you know. But you can see through the bullshit. You don't need it to be real in order to enjoy it.
And
you know what I mean?
apparently, Paul Stanley likes wrestling. He was spotted in the front row at the last WWE event with his son. Big as shit. There's Paul Stanley sitting there with his fucking Paul McCartney eyes.
Yeah, his shit all
Fucking
hanging
front
down.
row. Jesus, man.
Now, you see,
Yeah.
you've always been a huge Kiss fan, right?
Yes.
So from watching the show, I gather you're not a huge Kiss
No,
fan.
actually, Kiss was my favorite band until I heard Van Halen in 1980.
Okay.
So
All right.
Yeah.
that I can at least lay claim to having been a Kiss fan. But I really, when they took off their makeup, I had Lick It Up and I had Animalize, and I listened to the shit out of them. But then after that, I was kind of done. And they
Yeah.
weren't my favorite band anymore when I had those records.
Yeah.
And I like those records quite a bit, man.
That's what us Kiss fans call part timers.
Yeah, I was a part-timer. I was a fair weather.
See what
for
I'm
sure.
saying?
Yeah, yeah.
When
I
you were a
gave up.
true diehard Kiss fan, they can do anything. The Elder,
Right.
you know, cut their hair and wear
Yep.
headbands instead. Disco.
Right.
Come on.
Do
I was
disco.
made
Come
for
on.
loving you.
You can do extremely
I mean,
shitty movies.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure there's Metallica fans
Yeah.
that sat through Load and Reload.
Oh,
And,
yeah. No,
and
a very good friend of mine, Chris Graber. You know who you are. I think he listens to this.
I hope he does,
He
man.
never gave up on Metallica. You go, boy. You go, boy. And
I
let me
would-
tell you
Oh,
something,
I'm
Mean
gonna break
Gene.
open the Axe and Province stories too. By the way,
Yeah.
when they're coming down, we have time, man.
Dude,
this is
if we can
episode
get- in fact,
37.
I'm calling Chris Graber out. If Chris Graber could get his ass down here to do a podcast, I think that'd be fucking awesome.
It would be.
You
It
know,
would
the
be awesome.
Metallica thing, if they could lift the Bob Rock years right out of Metallica
Yeah, I'm
and
with
throw
you.
them the fuck
I'm with
away.
you, man.
Because if you listen to Death Magnetic sounds like it should have come right after Injustice for All.
I think that's true.
I mean, you could put those two back to back and go, this one was 1 year and this one
Yep.
was 2 years later
Yep.
and everything was fine.
Yep.
But Load and a lot of people were like, "Fuck, I love those albums." Well, I'm sorry. I grew up
with
listening
you.
to fucking Master Puppets.
Yep.
Right, that was the first heavy metal, quote unquote,
Right.
heavy metal album I ever had.
Yeah.
You know,
I love that
I
album.
was just like, oh my god! First time I listened to Battery, I about fucking pissed myself.
Dude.
You know,
Dude,
and it
that
just went from there. Yeah.
That gallop
oh
is
my.
fucking insane. I
Yeah.
don't know anybody who
Ugh.
can do it that fast.
It's insane, you know, because
Yeah.
even when we were picking songs, I mean, if that idea came up, I'd immediately go, nah, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
We're gonna be down here rehearsing for a
Yeah,
month.
exactly. And I'm gonna
Right.
get a cramp in my
But
fucking
you can do
forearm.
it. Your right hand is fucking tight, man.
Thanks, man.
He's one of them dudes
Yeah,
that
Brundy's
can
could do it too.
downstroke like a motherfucker.
Brundy's could do it too, man.
This
Yep.
hand's like this. This hand looks like a fish
I was
flopping
gonna say,
around
man,
on the
how did you
fucking
play
desk.
keyboards when you don't have any fucking
Yeah.
fingers on your left
Yeah,
hand?
this is just like a fish flopping around. But this one, I got it. And
Yeah.
we still try and pull off some of that shit.
Yeah,
That's
because
cool,
if
man.
we're doing like a then I'd do the
Right, right,
down
right.
up down up
Yeah.
and Ted was always
I don't know that I'm that tight anymore,
okay, but
yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
back then it was always the thing that we kind of stop and go, oh man,
Yeah, fucking quick
Yeah.
and down pick.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then his left hand was like,
But yeah, it's like a dead fish.
Yeah.
it's all
like
over. It's like,
right.
so,
But yeah,
that's
I'm
what I
with
was
you.
there
It's the
for.
truth,
I'm with
man.
you.
Yeah.
And kind of my story.
I'm just
was-
kidding,
tell
man.
me-
by
No,
the
it's
way.
true, man. It
Tell me-
is true.
Tell me if this makes any sense to your experience with Metallica. When you first discovered Metallica, they weren't on the radio. They made their way entirely underground by touring, T-shirts, and album sales. Yet you and all of your friends, they were your favorite band.
Yeah.
And it was a point of pride at some point for you and your friends that they were not becoming successful by going on MTV
Yep.
and being on the radio and all this stuff. So that when the Black Album came out and you first saw the video for Enter Sandman and it had a fucking strobe light in it, there was part of you that died a little bit inside.
I was sad.
I was too, dude. That day I was like, Metallica is dead.
I got
And for so many people, that was the moment of birth for Metallica. For
You
them.
talking about Inner Sandman video?
Yep.
Okay, but I'm with you on that because when their whole claim to fame and what they sold me with was the whole anti-commercial.
They were,
thing.
yeah.
We're an
We'll never put
exclusive
a
club, and we
video.
don't.
Yeah.
We're an exclusive club, and we don't need MTV for
Right,
shit.
yeah.
MTV plays Every Rose Has Its Thorn.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Fuck that.
We're Metallica fans.
Yeah.
And as soon as you're right, as soon
Yep.
as but the one video kind of slipped by because
did.
it was one of them that was cut in with movie footage.
It was so
and it was about
cinematic.
war, and all they did was fucking that scene. I still talk about it, man.
transcended video. It
when it goes into
transcended video.
the diggity,
Yeah, at the end.
and they're all like banging
In a
their head and they're
warehouse.
flipping their hair around
Yeah.
and shit in the warehouse that's black and whitish, bluish, kind of
That's
cold
fucking
steel looking.
awesome, dude.
And I was like, yeah, they get a
They get a
pass on
pass.
that.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
totally with you. I was like,
Yeah.
they get a pass for this one. There was nothing showmany about it. There
Yeah.
was nothing gimmicky about it. There was nothing about it that was meant
Do
to
you remember
like
the part where
beguile
Hetfield's
my-
like going? He's like
Yep.
twitching his head like this, and I know I look stupid doing it. My shoulder pop. You see that? I tried to do it. My neck popped.
Yeah, I saw
Fucking-
that.
Now I can't walk very good.
Yeah, right,
But yeah,
right.
and then he was like, they're totally feeling it. You can tell
Absolutely.
that's real shit.
That was real
that's
shit,
That's
man.
not Hetfield going, hey guys, this is the part where I
Yep.
do that Twitch thing.
Right.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
get the camera up here. Okay,
No,
we're
that
gonna
was-
take 2 on the Twitch.
Yeah.
You know,
No, that was nothing
it was
like
just
that going
happening,
on.
man.
Yeah,
And,
I'm with that. I'm with that. That's true.
I was supposed to go with some friends to see Ozzy in Peoria, and they came back from seeing Ozzy, and Metallica had opened up for them, and they were like, we didn't even know who was going to be opening. I couldn't go to the fucking Ozzy show, and it was Master of Puppets, and they said,
Yep.
these guys just came out, these skinny little fucking milquetoast white bastards came out and played this fucking shit 100 miles an hour, and I was like, what is this Metallica thing that you're talking
Yeah,
about?
right.
And went and got the album, just like. But yeah, same exact.
Did you just
thing
do that
did.
Coneheads?
Is that
What's
true?
that?
Did
Oh,
you
yeah,
just do
exactly.
Coneheads?
A little bit.
Coneheads. Did you hear it? He said,
Little
"What
bit.
is this Metallica
What is
that
this
you
Metallica,
have?"
me,
right?
Gotcha.
Eldar.
See, I'm in
He
your
got
club.
it. He got
This dance
it.
would
A
be
little
great.
bit, just for a little bit, just for a little bit.
I would stop
But
banging
no,
myself.
and then went backwards. Got Ride the Lightning,
Right.
and Kill
Yep.
Them All.
I have me too.
And then
in that
and
order.
then got all the little stupid stuff, like when they put out an album that just had like Blitzkrieg, and then
Yeah.
and then No Remorse and
Right,
Four
dude.
Horsemen. They just little do.
Yeah.
And it was so good.
I loved
And
it too.
Loved Injustice for All, and then like you said,
Yep.
Black Album came out. I think it was 91 or 92, and I just remember going.
I mean, I even listened to the shit out of it.
Oh, I did.
I listened to the
I
fuck out of
did.
it. Don't get me wrong, but I knew that something was different, that it was over now.
I saw him on that tour, and I met him on that tour, and
See, I met him the tour before.
yeah. See, I wish I would.
With Mark Dettel, as a
Yeah.
matter of fact.
Oh,
that fucker.
that fucking guy.
I know it, man.
It was all, in my opinion, it's, everything that they had with filming Rasmussen, which he was the producer that
That's
did
right.
everything.
That's right.
That did everything up until the Black Album.
Yep.
I loved every fucking thing they did. And then as soon as they got rid of him and got Bob Rock, I was like,
That's it, man.
I can't
It's a Motley
do
Crue
it.
album
I
now.
can't do it, So. that
Well,
sucks.
I guess when you're thinking about it in these terms, I mean, you're out there on the road, you're doing it, you're busting your ass, you're hitting your market as hard as you can, and you still at the end of the day, you're kind of rich, but
Yeah.
Oh,
you're
yeah,
like,
dude. No,
there's just this whole pot of gold that's sitting there
Yep,
staring at
yep.
you.
Oh,
They
and
were
by the
taking
way,
it home with a rake and a fucking wheelbarrow.
And
they
do you
were,
really,
man.
do you really care about your base if you've got $20 million sitting
yeah.
there
Oh
waiting
yeah,
for
they
you?
traded us in, dude. They
did.
definitely they traded us in on the bigger car. I mean,
Yeah.
that is exactly what they did. And,
Yeah,
and we
be-
all knew it, and we were upset by that. That was
I
a
say
bother.
that to all the metal bands now. They're like, we'll stay true to our base, whatever, blah, blah,
fuck
blah.
off,
No.
I'm
dude.
telling you,
No.
when
You
you got
will
a $20 million
fucking
check
Yep.
in front of you,
You
and
will
they
trade in your chips.
and they want you to cover "I Was Made for Loving You" by Kiss.
Yep.
God,
You will
man,
be right there.
Yeah.
And if they did, whatever my cut of that $20 million would be, all of it would go to fucking liquor because I just locked myself in a room and drink myself till I
Exactly.
fit.
And that's
'Cause
what
now
the
everybody knows
that's
we're
where
the biggest piece of
where are
shit
they
on
now
planet
and the
Earth.
behind the music's come in right there.
Right,
It all
exactly.
started with
Yeah.
that cover of "I Was Made for Loving You."
That's when
When you're in your
God.
marble fucking
Yeah.
room and your gold pillars and shit, like
That's when Ted
you're
turned to drugs.
I hate
quadrillion billionaire.
myself now. Oh God.
so true, but yeah, I mean, but at the same time,
It's
I mean,
true.
it kind of. I probably would not have been as upset about the Metallica thing if I didn't need them to be real. Because I mean, the other thing is once you saw some kind of monster, you had to know.
Yeah.
You had to know that the entire time it was not what you thought it was.
Right.
It was something other than that. It
And they
had
weren't
to be.
writing that shit, loving each other. They were
No,
fucking. They
no.
were ready to claw each other's eyes out.
Yeah,
but they
absolutely.
But they were still taking the fucking money home.
They were taking the money home, and Lars Ulrich is absolutely as big a bitch as you ever
Oh,
thought he was, dude.
Fuck that. Every time I hear somebody talk about every time his name comes up, somebody bitches about Napster. And the one thing that pisses me off about that was, old school, you talk about Metallica getting big because of the underground thing. They would give their tapes away.
Absolutely.
They were always giving their fucking music away to help the bands get big.
Absolutely.
And so many of the people that I know that are collectors that pirate music, right? Now, they'll go out and they'll download something and they'll go, I love this. And they go buy the album. Right. Every fucking one of them. Right. And it's just kind of it's like a trial. I mean, I don't have a library of digital, music in my home and go, look what I didn't have to fucking pay anything for,
Yeah.
But fuck Lars. Fuck Lars for being a hypocritical bitch.
Yes.
For fucking being pissy about all that.
For citing, at least rhetorically or something, with big business. For citing with big business.
I dig that. I subscribe to that. I would say that everything that you see on my wall back there is from an era where records were the product.
Right, right. Yeah.
And the touring was, kind of an accentuation to that. Mm-hmm. Well, for some bands, it was everything, like Kiss and all that. But for most of it was selling records. Guns N' Roses got rich by selling Appetite for Destruction.
That's right. Yeah.
40 million times.
That's absolutely right.
So,
although they didn't get rich as somebody.
But this era anymore, them are business cards. They're handed out to as many people as you can get.
That's right.
So that they can hear your music. That's all your recorded work is.
Yeah.
Is a business card.
Yeah.
Your touring is now your money.
Your money. That's right. Yep.
And maybe your licensing and all these other things. I'm not trying to say that I know anything about the business, but I can tell you right now that selling records, from what I hear from everybody that's in the game, selling records is not where it's at.
Not anymore.
Unless you're
not
Taylor
for rock.
Swift.
Not for rock. Yeah.
Right.
It is
for country.
It is for the fucking Alamo of the music industry.
Yeah,
fucking
the last
pop country.
Right.
Or at least I should say the Alamo for rock instrumentation in popular music, because really all the dance music, probably like Ariana Grande and all that stuff, I'm sure that stuff sells more than your big pop country artists, or at least is tied for first. But at least in the pop country shit, it's a fucking guitar, bass, drums, and vocals.
And there's one asshole out there writing all of it too.
Oh yeah, you're right about that. Exactly. Right.
Have you guys seen the previews for that new movie that's coming out called The Wrecking Crew?
No.
It's a documentary about, I believe it's The Wrecking Crew. It's a documentary about all these musicians, and it's only like a small handful of them. I want to say like 20 or 30 musicians who all the big albums that you heard from the late 50s through the early 70s, none of the musicians in the bands supposedly played on the records. Right. They brought this group of these 25 guys in. Yep. I think like I said, I think it's called The Wrecking Crew, where they brought them in because they knew that they would play the music flawlessly, even though it was the music that the band had written. Yeah. They brought them in, they would play it flawlessly, and in some cases they allowed these people to ad-lib of what they were playing, and they would say, like the part of it that I saw, that song, The Beat Goes On and the Beat Goes On, you know what I'm talking about?
I actually don't know that one.
So yeah, it's like a 60s anyway, and so the bass line,
the Monkees, ain't it?
No, I don't think it's the Monkees. I'm not sure who it is.
Chuck Murphy will know.
Yeah, but anyway, so they the lady who was the bass player for this group, this Wrecking Crew, she was like, your bass line sucks. And she changed it, and it's the signature line to the song now.
Right.
Where can you find this? Is it on Netflix?
I saw a preview for it on iTunes not too long ago.
I'm going to have to watch that. That looks interesting.
Yeah, just looking at that, and all these guys, all these old music producers now are like, we knew that bringing those guys into the studio was gonna change everything as far as the music industry was concerned.
But from their standpoint, I mean, think about how much more degradable the tape was at the time.
Oh yeah,
the inability to get these recordings done within a few takes would end up causing the costs to increase by an order of magnitude. Yeah. I mean, of course they were trying to figure out ways. To them, that was Pro Tools. You know what I mean? Exactly. That was Pro Tools. That was your ability to fucking bring in something that was gonna be flawless.
And I'm glad. I'm so happy we're on this topic because listening to you guys and watching the show, I think maybe you have said kind of previously that you think that the golden age of music was kind of like the 80s and 90s, where if you were playing in a bar, there was a chance that somebody could come in and see you and say, I love your band, I'm going to give you $100,000 to fucking do a record contract. Right? Is that kind of what I've gathered from some of the things
I
that
don't want to talk over you, but if you're on a train of thought, I don't want to step in and say anything, but yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about. The whole idea is that you didn't have to have a look. You had to write good songs.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. Right.
Look at Phil Collins.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Duh.
Don't look at him. He's ugly.
The thing that I love about today, and kind of like what you were talking about, those people with their Pro Tools, you couldn't do this type of stuff.
Right.
What I love about music today, and I quit. I mean, I really, when I moved to Chicago with Terry, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. I moved to Chicago and saw horrible things when I was living in Chicago in the early 90s.
Like what?
Like we would go watch these bands, right? So me and Terry, we lived together. We would go watch these bands, and you'd see this band on stage, and they sucked. And they get done, and some guy would come up and go, "Hey, I like you guys. You're good. I want to get you a demo tape," right? And so, and he was like, he was honest with him. You got to pay for it. So these guys would pay $100 an hour, and they'd pay $20 an hour to this guy who was a producer. They'd go into the studio. Right, and I witnessed this with my own eyes. There was a band where a friend of the band had come into about $4 million because of a car accident, right?
Holy shit.
He'd come into about $4 million because of this car accident. And so he told this band, I will pay for you guys to record an album. Now, they weren't very good. But here they are, the guy sitting behind a $750,000 soundboard. They're paying them $100 an hour. They're paying this studio guy, this producer, $100 an hour. They're in the studio just butchering these fucking songs. And at the end of the day, someone went, "There's your cassette tape." Right? And so these guys would just go around and prey on these band guys and tell them, because you couldn't go into your basement. You couldn't go into your basement and sit in front of a console like that and record and do whatever. Take after
we'll fix it in the mix, baby. It's gonna be great.
Let's say
you're great.
The music business is the biggest pool of wounded minnows.
Oh my
God! And there's gonna be some
Yeah.
piranhas.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and they're
exactly
gonna play
right.
right on them, them wounded minnows that are swimming around slow.
Right.
And there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
What do you mean a record deal? You're gonna they're right on that.
Oh, yeah.
You want me to sign my dick away? That's fine. Have it, man.
Well, these guys would pay $5,000, $6,000,
Want to jam a white hot
$7,000.
poker up my ass? That's
Well, weren't
great.
you that way?
Exactly.
Hey, how did you feel? If that guy would have came up to you, be honest, at that age, you and Terry, and we're talking about Terry Hodges here from Drop Hammer.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
He was in Drop Hammer with me.
Right.
At that age, I would have signed anything.
Yeah.
Sure.
Really.
I mean,
mean,
that seeing it.
the word record deal was like, where do I sign?
Yeah,
I'm famous now. Record deal, right?
I know
famous.
what that is. That's what I want.
I think that being on the outside of it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because if it would have happened to me, me and Terry would have been taking out bank loans and doing whatever to try and fucking do it. But seeing it happen to other people, because the whole time we were in Chicago, Terry and I could never get a band started. So if we would have, and it would have happened to us, oh God, yeah, we'd have been in that fucking studio. And like I said, $7,000, and I know these guys, at the end of the day, all they had was a cassette. Yeah. And now this producer is not helping them get a fucking record deal. The place isn't, it basically was fuck you, pay me.
Right.
Yeah.
And out they go.
That's like I said, man.
Yeah,
they're out there,
pay me.
man. Just like hey, think about other industries. There's girls out there that get taken advantage of in that same way.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And anybody, there's always people out there in the quest of finding fortune and fame.
Yeah.
You're going to come across a lot of traps, and
for sure.
especially in this business, because everybody wants it so fucking bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been there, man. I mean, when I picked up a guitar and realized I could cover the Detroit Rock City lick, I was like, oh man, the sky's the limit, man. I could go anywhere I want. Look at these. I could play like Ace Frehley.
Yep.
Yeah.
If I could play like Ace Frehley, I could be a rock star.
Boom.
I didn't have any idea that they were famous because they had makeup on.
Yeah.
I didn't have any idea that they had writers and they had management and all these things and this whole business that was happening.
Yeah.
I was a kid.
Yeah.
It was all just brand new and just
Totally.
awesome.
Right.
Like if you could do that on guitar, all you had to do is grab your guitar and amp and just start walking down the street. Hey, look what I can do. And pretty soon you were going to be a famous guy.
It's the
right?
two sides of faith, man. It's the two sides of belief without reason. That if you believe things without reason or evidence, on the one hand, it makes you confident in a way that allows you to accomplish things and attempt things that ordinarily you may not do if you really thought about it or looked at it. But at the same time, it opens you up to be manipulated, because when you believe things without reason or evidence, it's kind of dumb in a way.
What was it for you, Ted? What was it for you that made you? Because I mean, there was a certain time when you were like, I want to be a rock star, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or did it always take a back seat in your mind, or was it the forefront at any time?
So a little bit of a long story, but I'll back up and I'll kind of throw it all in, and you guys can do whatever. Me and Terry Hodges, we played in a band for probably a couple of years in the late 80s.
Which I don't know why you picked him, because he way overplays all the time.
And that's an inside joke, and we'll talk more about that later too. But no, me and Terry played in this band, and it was all the same type of shit. We played and split Megadeth, Metallica, Iron Maiden, stuff like that, right? So and this is honest to God what happened. When that band broke up, like 1990 maybe, Terry Hodges and I, we wanted to be famous musicians. We wanted to be famous rock stars. We actually had a goal set of we wanted to be like 19 or 20, just like Metallica was when they got signed. Right, and that was ambitious for a guy that lives in Colchester, Illinois, and a guy that lives in Blandonsville, Illinois.
Yeah.
That was fucking ambition.
Yeah.
Right,
But that's what the magic.
But
That's what the
That
magic was,
exactly.
Ted. Is that we didn't know that it was area specific.
And and that's where we really fucked up because we shouldn't have never moved to Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago's
There's
the
no
wrong scene.
fucking metal scene in Chicago.
No, punk maybe. But
We had punk and blues, and that's it.
That's it.
So we were sitting around one afternoon reading a fucking Hit Parader magazine, and there was an article that said if you're going to get signed in all these states, here are the bars you have to play in. Well, there was only one fucking bar that they listed in Illinois, and it was called the Thirsty Whale up in Chicago. So right then, me and Terry were like, we're going to fucking move to Chicago. We're going to play in this, the Thirsty Whale. Right? I'm throwing the back in there again. We're going to play in this, the Thirsty Whale, and we're going to be famous fucking musicians. We should have had our fucking heads examined for fucking basing what we were going to do with the rest of our life on an article in a fucking Hit Parader magazine
right.
to begin with, right? But we did this. And you know, we wanted to be famous. It was going to be, we're going to move up there, we're going to get jobs, we're going to do all this type of stuff, and we're going to be famous. And for a fucking year, for a year, I don't know how many articles we put in the newspaper. I don't know how many flyers we put up. I don't know how many things we put up trying to find musicians to play with. We found one guitar player, this guy named Daryl Coods, right, which I'm still friends with him on Facebook. Found one guitar player. We never could find a fucking bass player.
Kidding me?
No, it was finding a bass player was so sad. I almost quit playing guitar and started playing bass myself because I knew I'd have a fucking job forever. It was so bad. One time we went to this guy's house and that had answered an ad, and we go into his basement, and they didn't have a word for it in 1991. They have a word for it now. It's called hoarder.
Right.
And his fucking basement was like stacked full and everything, and he was like moving shit to get to a bass amp, and we're like, dude, you're not for us.
Yeah.
You know. But so after a year of Terry and I living in Chicago, not playing shows, right? I mean, it was always just him and I in the apartment trying to fucking jam and do something.
Right.
It was like, fuck this. You know, the shitty jobs, everything was just seemed like it was against us. And we literally made the decision, fuck it, we're going to move back to Macomb and try and do something from there, you know, and whatever we could do, because we knew that there was nothing. We'd seen these people being taken advantage of. We'd seen that we couldn't find the fucking people to play with. And it was at that point, literally, that I was like, I'm going to play in bands for the rest of my life, but I'm not going to try and fucking make it anymore.
Wow.
You know,
Really, that early?
It was that. It was then.
Man.
I was 20. And it was just, you know, you watch these guys get taken advantage of in Chicago, and I was just, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this.
Wow.
And it wasn't until like 3 or 4 years ago, I don't have to wear leather pants and put eye makeup on. You know, I mean, seriously.
But I like it, so I will.
Yes, you
Right,
do, Ted.
exactly. I know. I probably should. Do they make fat pants, fat leather pants?
Fat as you want them.
Right.
And I don't think eyeliner and blush is going to look good with that beard.
It's not either, man. And especially with the gray, right? I'm hiding it behind the microphone.
That's what always used to trip me out
well,
about
that's what-
King Diamond, you know?
Right.
That's what's awesome.
Beards and
You know,
pancake makeup.
you were smart enough to realize that, hey, I'm going to have a different relationship with this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use it for enjoyment like it's supposed to fucking be instead of everything about
Right.
you know,
Right.
and that was my safety place, you know, and you know, as long as I have rock and roll, I'm safe from the world because I can do it better than you,
Right.
and you know I'm not saying better than everybody. I'm
But,
just saying better
yeah.
than that person that's
Yeah,
fucking.
right.
Hey, fucking, what's with your long hair and this?
Yeah.
Who the fuck do you think you are? You know, them
I
people.
still get that. I still get people come up to me and go, "You're not still playing music, are you?" like you just almost want to expect them to go, "You don't still have the herps, do you, Ted?"
Yeah, exactly.
You know, no, I got rid of that shit years ago. You know, but I hate that. If I was 19, I wish to God I was 19 today with the technology and the way it is now. You know, the greatest thing, or one of the things that I love about playing in Hong Kong Sleepover and having the technology the way it is now is, we've sold records. Like we sold a record in Sweden.
Awesome.
When would that have ever
That's
happened?
fucking cool, man.
Yeah, it's, you know, when would that have ever happened?
Yeah.
everybody wants to be younger and try it all over again, but still, you know.
Hey, friend, have you heard the brand new The Hong Kong Sleepover album? Yes, I just picked it up on Bandcamp for €3.50.
They just for 3 years. They just shipped it to me from the United of States.
See, that's the Ted Renner I've been waiting for right there. That motherfucker will crack my ass up.
And I had to say this. So I've been deathly afraid. I've been deathly afraid the whole episode, and even leading up to this, because like a couple of months ago, you were like, Ted's just funny. Ted's funny. All I can think of is Goodfellas. You know, where it's like, and I just want to be like, how am I fucking funny to you, Brian?
Am I funny?
How many you find? Like, I almost brought my 38, so I'd be like, how am I fucking funny to you?
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Clown? Point here for your amusement?
Yeah,
Exactly. Let me take you back. This is
Okay.
this is
Oh,
Minor
this is gonna be
Disturbance
good.
Radio, and this is kind of where I get off on it. Okay, and it's kind of going back through memory lane a little bit, and
Yep.
and I'm sure everybody understands what we're talking about. Band practice back when you're in your early 20s, okay? So the only Jim, the drummer,
Right.
actually had a house. Well, how the fuck with his girlfriend? You know what I mean? He lives with his
Right.
girlfriend, has a fucking house to live in somehow.
Right.
You know, we're all still living either at home or having an
Renting,
apartment
yeah.
somewhere that nobody can practice at. Finding a place to practice is the hard part to begin with, right? So we practice in his fucking living room, right?
Right.
And we push the couch out of the way a little bit. His girlfriend, did he have a kid at the time too, or no?
No,
okay.
I don't think so.
No, okay, I was wrong about that. So you push the couch out of the way. The girlfriend's sitting there watching TV, trying to watch TV over this 20-piece drum set. You know,
we were loud.
a
Yeah.
bass stack, a guitar stack,
Right.
2 guitar stacks
Oh,
in
Jesus.
the living room. You know, every practice, all this shit
Right.
in, you know, setting up, and we were rapping chords, fucking doing the thing, setting up all this equipment. And
Right.
where do we get a practice PA? I don't know.
I've always had PA.
Okay,
and
so you
PA
had
equipment,
you know
stuff
some
like
monitors
that,
and
yeah.
shit feeding back. We're just playing way
Oh,
too
yeah.
loud over the monitors.
Oh my
It's
God.
horrible.
He's
You know,
got gun mufflers on, watching the People's Court, fucking
Yeah, yeah.
subtitles on.
right, yeah.
She was though. He's right, man. Tina would sit right there and just be like, how can you fucking enjoy this?
Everybody remembers them
Yeah,
days, man.
totally.
And you know, and I was happy to fucking be there.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
You know, and at that point,
yes.
Ted, in my life, I was looking for acceptance.
Yep.
I wanted everybody to like me. And the only way I could get people for sure to like me was to be the best guitar player that I could be. We've talked about this a million
Oh,
times.
yeah.
Yep.
See, this
I
is
thought it was my ticket in, dude.
This is
Right.
therapy for me. Because if it were just up to me and my personality, I didn't think that was anywhere near enough. And it probably wasn't, because I was kind of a jerk.
I'm not kidding. My mom's been calling me asshole since I was 6 years old.
That's all right. My nickname in the house
Right.
is Dickhead.
Right?
Oh
It
my
works.
God!
So anyway, I cut you
want
off
to talk
anyway,
about
go ahead.
asshole? My wife sits me down at least once a week and reminds me of just what people really probably think of me, and you might want to tame that down
Well,
and
you
this
keep
down
doing
and
these
that down.
fucking podcasts
Yeah.
and saying a whole bunch
Right.
of shit she don't like,
And I
you
just told her,
dummy.
I said, honey, that's what people like about
They
me.
like me.
They like
when
to see
I-
a train
yes.
wreck, man.
Exactly. They can't look away. I just want them to look at me.
I wanted to hear, Brian, you're awesome. You're good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're in my band.
Yeah.
And that was never said.
Really?
I don't think it was. I'm not. Hey, listen.
No. It's 20 years ago, man. I know.
It's not
that's all.
said in the band I'm in now.
Right.
And I've kind of learned that you don't need to hear that. You know,
Right.
I think
Because
that
everybody got together, Brian. They were like, "Hey, don't pay Brian.
don't ever tell Brian he's good.
Don't.
man.
dude.
Yep.
It's gonna go right to his fucking head."
It's like here's your $5 to not compliment Brian.
Well,
Okay,
you know,
good.
everybody. When
right?
I get a lot of people that write into and send me messages on Facebook about MDR, and the reason why they like the show is the honesty, right? And
that was what drew me to it.
Yeah, the kind of rawness of it, and I'm not afraid to say how I was thinking when I was going through these things, and it kind of makes me feel better to hear me say them.
Yeah.
Because we all have insecurities. We're all dealing with the same shit.
Oh, yeah.
So for me to admit it, I'm kind of like, wow, I can't believe I spent that much time in my life needing that much
Right.
praise.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's really all I was doing, was trying to get praise from my peers.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm a huge fan of the show. So
Thank
I'm
you.
sitting here, I'm kind of like going, it's like sitting at Letterman in the front row, fucking, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I love the show. I love the show.
Sweet.
And I
I
love the
appreciate
show
it, man.
for a million fucking reasons. And I swear to God, from the day you said something about wanting to be on the show, I've been walking around the house with internal dialogue going, I'm going to say this, I'm going to talk about that, I'm going to talk about this. And, then,
And when you get here, you're like-
I get here, I'm like, and I know like halfway home, I'm going to be like,
Damn
Why
it.
didn't I say that shit? Yeah, I know.
The video store effect.
Yeah, right,
8,000
exactly.
movies you want to see. You walk
Yeah.
in, can't remember
No,
any
That's
of them.
what's cool about it. Is
Wow, man.
it's just kind of a train of thought thing. You just kind of go where the conversation goes.
Yeah.
It's long form. And you know what? This is episode 37. We might do 3,037,
Right.
and we'll have you on 10 times. I don't know.
I just hope that people like a year from now, and that's when I was saying I'm nervous. I hope a year from now people are like, I love the show, except for episode 30 fucking 7.
Everybody says that. Everybody that comes on the show is
Exactly.
like, well, you sure you want me to be on the show?
Yeah, I'm gonna be a major
no Mark
fucking
Nettle,
buzzkill.
but, you know.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, I'll tell you, I'm really kind of going out on a limb, honestly, just because, our numbers aren't huge. We don't have thousands and thousands of listeners, but we do have loyal listeners. So they're going to listen regardless of who the guest is.
Right.
And I'm hoping that they take the time to go check out your band and maybe buy some product. I mean, you've got CDs out for sale. I mean, go to the page and like it. I mean, that's what we're doing here. This is a community. Let's try to stir the pot a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but tell me a little bit about this Hong Kong Sleepover DVD that we have here. It's fucking cool as fuck.
That looks
man.
fucking awesome,
Yeah,
man.
look at that, man.
We
That is badass.
we took pictures like sometime
cool.
I think like in August we had pictures taken, and like 5 days after that or after that photo shoot, the guy that took the photos showed up with a bunch of cameras at one of our shows. And we were only playing like 30 minutes that night, and he recorded it and sent it to us, and I loved it. And the rest of the guys in the band were like, "No, that sucks." I said, "Well, okay, well then let's hire him to record a live album for us." And so we got the sound guy to run everything through the board, and then we got this guy, which we thought he'd show up with like 2 or 3 cameras. He showed up with 12 cameras. And fucking lights and 2 other people to fucking run through the crowd.
Oh, shit.
And not to mention the fact that he came to a couple of band practices and like he put clamps on our guitars. So we're, we got the GoPros like
Right.
this
Sure.
at the head of the guitar.
You fucking get the shots down the neck.
He
and shit.
took and edited all 12 cameras worth of video together.
Awesome.
And then we got the audio from the sound guy. And so I took it to my house and we edited not too much editing, but getting the sound right and everything like that. So it didn't sound like it was recorded through, a GoPro at the back of the room.
Right.
And put it together. And then, so there's a bunch of outtakes in there. There's a bunch of behind the scenes, us writing songs. There's all kinds of shit that's in there, special features wise.
Awesome.
And so it was just like, we kind of committed before we'd seen the video footage. We said, we are going to fucking do this. We're not asking this guy to do all this shit for us and throw it out the fucking window. So
yeah.
So
Well, look, let's give one of these away.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, and I don't really know how to do it, but I guess if you can come up with an idea of how whoever's listening to the podcast, if they want a copy of this, what should we do? Should we just make it simple and say,
I don't know. What about whoever makes the best argument about why they deserve it?
Yes, whether
What
it's
do
a
you think of that?
real argument or not.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's
like if they
gotta be
call
creative.
in and it was like, I can ride an elephant on a unicycle backwards while I'm drunk
Chewing raw
on
spaghetti.
Saturday.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
right.
Right, the first person to make
Yes.
up the best.
The best.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
By a certain time, you got to have a cutoff. So,
Yeah,
like,
what's- emails received by.
so in other words, Chuck Murphy, enjoy the
Yeah.
just
DVD,
give it
man.
to him now. Right. That's your copy, by the way.
This is my copy
That's
right
your
here.
copy, and then that's
Yeah.
a giveaway copy.
Yeah,
That's what I
I'm
always
giving one away.
wanted.
Right?
I've got a signed copy, so
And there's koozies, too. I brought koozies in.
Oh, yeah?
yeah.
There's koozies too.
Which, yeah, I don't know what I
Man,
do
We
with
always
them.
give
You really
koozies
know
away.
how to butter a man up.
Right.
I don't know.
I
I don't know if
give
you're gonna
people
get
stuff.
away with this legally, but
Nice.
yeah, I don't. Oh, that's the wrong one.
That's not the one I was like.
Anyway,
Well,
yeah.
it's here
I
somewhere,
have
so
them.
whatever.
All right. Here we
Here's
go.
the koozie right here.
Oh,
Awesome.
that's bitchin'.
So them are.
Oh, and you got to show them the bottom.
That's
You gotta
bitchin'.
show them the bottom.
Yeah.
What if you're?
Well, Brian's a top.
If you're seeing this, I need another beer. Is that
Yep.
what it says?
Yeah.
I have one already. If you win the DVD and it comes with the koozie, and you know what? On top of that, I'll throw you in a Minor Disturbance sticker.
Give me one of those.
Which, by the way, we have these.
Give me
we
one of
have
those so I
4
can
of them.
put it
We
on
all
my
have
hand.
to share. Okay.
Put it on my hand.
So you also get the Minor Disturbance radio sticker, whatever, man. We'll give shit
Awesome.
away here because everybody, you guys know that we have Minor Disturbance shirts and we have stickers and koozies and shit. See, here's our koozies are somewhere around
Don't
here
load
too.
them down too much, man.
Well, I'm
You
just
wanna
saying. I just want
remember.
everybody to know that you got to try to promote
Have
your
all the
shit.
good stuff.
You know,
I mean,
you got to try to promote your shit as much
The
as you
Hong
can.
Kong Sleepover. The Hong Kong Sleepover.
Right.
Then Minor Disturbance Radio.
What? Wait, I'll throw in some of this shit too. I'm just
You're
trying to give.
you're just gonna throw
He's
it.
just sweet
everything.
pot.
You're just giving everything
It's a
away.
sweet pot.
You
You're just fucking.
if you take the time to write something about how you want to have this DVD, you're getting a koozie, a sticker, and another koozie.
Now I don't see how them boys down at Minor Disturbance Radio stay in business.
Yeah, they're just
exactly.
giving it away.
Just trying to have a little fun here, man.
So I know that watching this show. Who was the guy that was telling the Van Halen story?
Matt Truitt.
Matt Truitt. Okay.
Truitt, yeah.
So I got a famous person story. It's
Okay,
not as
let's
good.
get it
It's
on.
not as good as the Matt Truitt story,
I
but
love these.
it's a
Few
good
stories
famous.
are
Okay,
good.
so oh my God, that one about Van Halen.
It's fucking.
Fuck, how do you hold a candle to that?
Unrivaled.
So, probably about 7 or 8 years ago, Pete was living in California. He was working for a guitar company. And so we went out and we got to go, me and Chad went out and we got to go to the NAMM show, right? Which is not open to the public. You know, you got to have the badge and shit like that to get in. Right. So we got in, we're walking around. And the guitar company that Pete worked for is a company called GMP Guitars, right? Which I've got one. They're phenomenal guitars. Well, they endorse CC DeVille.
Oh, whoa.
And so I've never been a hair metal guy. I was always like, you know, Metallica, Ozzy, AC/DC. I mean, I don't know, you know, shit like that.
Me too.
But man, I was never really into like Warrant, Poison,
me either.
Kiss. I'm just throwing that out there.
No, yeah, have at it, man. Have at it.
He'll rip me up later.
But
or it'll just be like 5 hours of beep, and that was Ted Renner. So anyway, so we're walking around the last night. CC DeVille's at the booth. He's looking at guitars, you know, and I was like, and I don't get starstruck. I'm like, whatever. So we leave, and the owner of the company calls and says, hey, you guys go across the street to the fucking Hilton. We're in the sushi bar. So I'm like, okay. So we go, and literally the fucking sushi bar is like twice the size of this room. We walk in.
It's tiny.
It is fucking tiny. There's like 8 little 2-man tables in the whole fucking place, and 5 of them are pushed into the corner. And the people that work for GMP are sitting around these fucking tables, like the owner and his wife, 2 people, and then me, Chad, and Pete all fucking sit in. And so we're sitting there, we order beer, whatever, and here comes fucking CC and his uber unbelievably hot, fake boobed, fucking gorgeous girlfriend, and sit right next to us at the fucking table. His girlfriend sits next to me, and CC's fucking sitting right there. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of interesting, you know.
Not going to look at her
whatever.
tits. Not going to look at her tits.
Hand on your knee. Hand on
my knee. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And she did. She had to cleave.
Yeah.
It was going
Carl Cleve
on,
and Sons.
buddy. I'm telling you what.
I'm trying to figure out what my wife was doing up there.
Heavy on the Suns.
Oh, dude, she was. Oh, this one was beautiful. So we're all sitting there, and Cece, you know, is talking to the owner of the company about wanting more guitars, and I mean, not a dick or whatever, but he's really kind of a flamboyant dude. And everybody's telling stories and talking, and so I'm seeing she's just kind of sitting there by herself, and so I start, you know, talking to her a little bit. I'm like, you know, so what do you do? And trying to bring her into the conversation a little bit.
You're trying to get in that box, aren't you?
Whoa.
Just even a smell.
Just be honest,
just
man.
a
I wouldn't have
smell.
crawled out of it for a week.
Would you hit it behind his back?
Yeah.
Would you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, go back to your story.
Yeah, but he was a cool dude, and once you hear the end of the story, you're gonna be like, "You're a fuck for saying that about Cece's girlfriend." But anyway, so we're sitting there, and I'm like, you know, what do you do and stuff like that. And I sell makeup and all this, and the minute I said, "So how'd you guys meet?" It was like the record needle. Cece fucking quit listening to what he was listening to, and immediately turns to me. Right, and he's like, I was in a fucking, you know, he talks that, I was in an alley, and I'd shit myself, and I was fucking drunk, and I'd thrown up all down the front of me, and she saw me, and she picked me up, and took me home, and cared for me for like a week, and whatever, and she's, the whole time he's doing this, she's like,
This is not
true. And, you know, and she's like, we met through mutual friends, and he showed up at the airport with roses and shit like that. But he gets like that in certain points of the conversation, right? Like, he'll just flare up. And at one point, he was telling the guy that owned the guitar company about what kind of frets he liked, and he grabs a pen and reached over her and grabbed my arm, and is pulling my arm across her boobs.
Right.
To write what kind of fret size you want. So he's just this real big flamboyant.
But he's writing on you.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
you are a walking fucking notepad for
Give me
him
your
to
arm.
scrawl his ideas on.
Exactly.
I've got lyrics. Give me.
Do this. So every time the bartender comes over, or every time the waiter comes over, he's like, I want another round of beers and another plate of sushi. And we're drinking like $6-7 Sapporos, and the fucking sushi plates they're bringing over are like this big. You know, we're in California, Anaheim, California.
Yeah.
It's good fucking stuff.
Yeah.
So literally every time they come over, another fucking round of beers and another plate of sushi. So I'm sitting there, and some guy fucking taps on my shoulder, and I turn around, and the guy goes, hey, are you guys going to be here? Because we've got all the fucking tables,
right.
you know. He's like, how long are you guys going to be here? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't work for these guys. I'm just kind of fucking here. I'm a guest, whatever. And I look over at Chad, who's sitting next to me, and Chad's fucking pale white. And he goes, that's Nuno. And it was Nuno Betancourt fucking standing right here tapping me.
Yeah.
Wanting to know
man.
when we were going to get up. And so I'm just like, holy shit, that is him. Well, then he and Cece fucking recognize each other, and they'd toured, you know, they had toured, I think, Japan.
Did they have a shred off right there? Crossroads?
No, they did not. But I wish they would have.
Nuno would fucking destroy.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And he kept, you know, we kept saying, hey, why don't you sit down? He says, I got 4 people waiting in line, and this place was crowded, and there was no way he was.
Right.
But he stood there and talked to us for like 15 minutes and was just one of the fucking coolest dudes. And so he leaves, And meanwhile, they keep, bringing sushi and bringing fucking beer. And I'm like, I'm not a rock star. I don't fucking work for these people. My bill is going to be like $300, when it comes to the end of the fucking night.
All right.
So going through, we're there for like 3 hours. And at one point, Cece goes, well, I got to go because my mom's going to freak out because I've been gone so long. And he says, the minute I walk in the door, and he reaches across the fucking bar, or across his girlfriend again, and grabs my head like this.
Yes.
He grabs my head like this, and he goes, my mom's going to go, you're on the shit again, aren't you? Aren't you? I can see it in your nose. You're on the shit. You're on the shit again. And he's holding my fucking head in the middle of this sushi bar and screaming this at the top of his lungs. And I'm just
I can see that shit in there.
Right. He's like, so we got to go. We got to go. And so he's getting ready to leave, and the waiter comes back over with the bill, and Cece reached up and grabbed the fucking thing. Right? And I don't know how fucking expensive it was. Cece reached up and grabbed the bill, and he goes, I've had more fun sitting here tonight joking and laughing and telling fucking stories with you guys than I've had in for fucking ever, and I'm taking care of the check.
Awesome.
That's very cool.
That's badass.
And so he got up and he was like, he took pictures with all of us, and he was like, you guys sitting here with like this and just telling stories and having a good time is the reason that I got into this business. And not corporate meals where it feels like work and shit like this. But that guy, I'm still not really a Poison fan, but I have a whole new respect for him after that night. It was cool for him to do that shit.
That is
but
cool.
Him, reaching across, he's got my head like he's holding the fucking cue ball,
Right.
Like,
Well, face touching in general is really kind of a taboo.
Yeah, right.
You're really breaking some barriers when you do that shit. You either don't give a shit and have no real sense of style about how to get along with people, or you're just so incredibly comfortable that you think to yourself, I can recognize this dude, and I know he's going to be okay.
I think he's just unbelievably open.
Thing.
Yeah, I mean, he's just out there. So, but it was pretty
no
fucking
decorum.
Funny. Oh yeah, none.
The best part of the story was Nuno to me.
Yeah.
Tapping you on the shoulder, and you're like, yeah. We're gonna be sitting here as long as it takes, buddy.
Yeah,
all right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Relax.
Jesus Christ, don't get so extreme on me.
Yeah,
He's like,
exactly.
I should have.
Don't go.
I should have. Fuck. Where were you?
Get the funk out, man. You
Right.
know?
Get the funk out.
Now you're throwing all of them at me.
Yeah.
All of them.
You got some shows coming up, right? That
We got some good shows coming up this summer. There's one I still can't talk about because of contract. Everything hasn't been done, but there's a there's a metal fest that we're supposed to play in Columbus Junction, Iowa. That's the night before
5th.
the All-Star. Yeah,
June 5th. Yeah.
right. So that's coming up. We got to play.
So I expect to have a hungover Ted Renner for the 6th.
I'll be there though, man. I'm a professional when it comes to stage.
Cool, man.
I fucking drink raw eggs and get right the fuck up there.
So I noticed, you've been on the bill with 1152 yet?
Yeah, we played 2 shows with them. We actually came up here and played at Rascals once.
I gotta say, man, them guys are the best guys.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
people wise, they
Dusty
have
is-
no
Dusty's
egos.
so cool.
They're the
Yeah.
coolest guys, and they happen to be in one of the best bands around.
Boy, they got you buffaloed, man.
Really?
They're the most fucking egomaniac.
You used to play in a band with Dusty, right?
Yeah, I did,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Marianas, another
Yeah.
awesome band.
Ah, thank you.
No, they came and played with us. There's a place in Burlington called the Washington, and Burlington was really where Hong Kong Sleepover took off. Like we put out an album, we were like, hey, here's our album, and Burlington was like, holy fuck! And so whenever we play over Burlington, we get a good
That's
crowd,
terrific.
and they're great fans. The fans are so nice and so cool and whatever. So we play at the Washington every now and then, and we had 1152 play down there to show with us, and it was pretty packed. I think it was when we recorded that.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah, I think that they were on that bill.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
But those guys, man, they're a lot of fun, and they are tight. Fuck, those guys are tight.
Well,
man.
they still do what bands should do, and they practice like at least what do they do? Like twice
it's at
a
least
week?
twice a week, yeah.
That's
And they've
what
been
we
doing
do.
that for years.
Yep.
And I mean, there are a number of diehard practicing musicians that don't believe that your band has a hair on its ass if it doesn't do it at least twice a week.
Yeah.
Well, I always kind of go with this the idea that if you're going to do it live, it has to be part of your DNA.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're at practice and you're like, God, we got to do this
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
again.
no.
We
Right.
got to do it again.
It's got to be muscle memory.
Yeah,
At some
It's
point,
got to
it
be
has
muscle memory so that when you're playing live, you're not, because you remember how you'd study for tests, right? And you'd like cram it, and then all of a sudden, you learn 100% and then remember 70 of it.
Right.
Yeah.
You need to learn 200% of it and remember 100% of it.
Exactly.
So that when you're playing live, it's second nature.
Yeah.
but it's so tedious. I know, man.
It is. If you don't hate the songs, you're not playing them enough.
I remember how I quit my own band. I quit Drop Hammer like 3 times. I mean, I remember going to practice and, you know, you having one of them practices where you just ain't jiving. You think your music sucks.
Yeah.
You know, and he probably does. You know, you're like,
everybody's got an off night.
We're not good, man. This sucks. I can't sing. People don't like these songs. This music sucks. It's outdated. Fuck this. I quit. I don't want to. And really what I was doing was trying to get the band to tell me not to quit so that I had, because I didn't have enough.
Don't quit.
I didn't have enough, you know, stamina. I couldn't. I needed somebody to pull me back up again and go, no, this shit's cool. Keep
That's
going.
why we drink so much when we do it.
Do you ever get? Have you ever felt that way? Have you ever felt that way?
Oh
Like,
my
God,
God,
what am
yes.
I doing?
Oh God, yes.
And go home depressed after a practice, like, fuck, this isn't even good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you call the guys to say, you know, I don't even know if I want to do this anymore. And you want them to say, dude, you can't quit, man. You're awesome. This shit's awesome. We're having fun. Don't do it.
Pete Thompson takes the brunt of those Ted Renner moments all the time. I mean, because I'll call Pete and the first words out of my mouth are, all right, I'm just venting here. And he'll go, okay. And I'll be like, motherfucking, like one of the fucking Go-Go Gophers, right? You remember those
The
guys?
Go-Go Gophers.
Right? That's exactly
I
what
can
I felt
fix
like.
all of it right now.
Right.
Get a fucking refrigerator in your band practice room.
Yeah.
Okay? Miller High Life
We have
warm will
one.
fuck up any band.
We have one. We have them. It's usually already
don't
full
use
with the
it.
reserve beer.
That's
Koozies,
right.
man.
It's the
Right?
backup beer.
Come on.
Exactly.
It's the backup beer.
But no, I do that all the time, man. And it's the same thing. Like, especially when I'm writing music. This fucking sucks. And then I take it to the guys in the band, and they're like, "What do you mean that fucking sucks? We love that, you know, shit like that." So yeah.
But, you know, I was going to bring this subject up, because you mentioned going to Chicago, and, you know, basically what you had was the musician's midlife crisis. You just had it at 20 instead of at 40 or 30 something or whatever it is.
Right.
But I think that moment for me was when I realized that when I do the stuff that I think is the best stuff, that is not what people necessarily are going to like from me.
That's right.
The throwaway shit that I think, well, here this sucks, but it's, you know, it's filler. And they're like, oh, this is it. You did it.
We have
Like,
songs.
what the fuck are you talking about?
No, there's.
You just don't know.
If you look at them on the album, if you looked at the album, I could tell you which ones they are. It's songs where somebody walks into band practice and they go, "Here's one riff," and literally 20 minutes later, the song and the lyrics are done.
Wow.
Right, and those are the ones where we're like, holy shit. And people love those fucking songs, and they're great. The stuff that we put so much time and trouble into. And there's one song on our last album called 356, which literally we've played it live probably 10 different ways, because we kept saying we want to change it a little more, we want to tweak it a little bit more, we want to change it a little bit more, we want to, and nobody likes it.
Yep.
Some of the ones that come in, it's like that fucking song just fell out of somebody's fucking pocket.
Yep, exactly.
You know, like literally, it's like bang. Oh, there. What? Who? Did you drop that way?
Yeah, I did. I dropped that over there.
You know.
That shit.
Have you ever been in a situation where somebody was listening to your music and they didn't know it was your band?
Yeah.
And they were commenting on it?
Yeah.
God, that's so scary, isn't it? I get
either
so
way.
like I can't be in this room, man. I can't stand to listen to my shit. Second of all, if somebody's like, let's listen to fucking Drop Hammer. Oh, great, from 1996.
Exactly.
Yeah, that we did in 8 hours.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
gonna-
do that. Let's have this whole room listen to that now that they've heard, you know, all the shit that's came out since
Right.
then.
Yeah.
And
I'm
they're
gonna go ahead and
they're gonna
drive to the
base
next
all of
county.
what they think of me on that.
I hate you go to somebody's house for a party and they're immediately like, they want to put your disc in. It's like, you just saw us at a fucking show.
Yeah.
You know, I don't get me
You
wrong.
gotta take that as a
Don't get me
compliment,
wrong.
man.
It's unbelievably flattering and it's great and stuff like that. But you just want to, at the same time, you just want to go.
Yeah.
You want to go. Do you know how many hours I spent in my basement going? No, yes, no, retracking songs and
Yep.
Here's a tidbit.
But it is flattering. It is very flattering.
Here's a tidbit of history, actually, Ted. We're running towards that time, but when we were practicing with Split, we started trying to delve into the original thing. We wrote a song called "Fall Down."
Yeah, I remember that.
Then "Walk with the Brave" was actually a song that was being kind of put together.
Yep, I
It's a
remember
Drop
that.
Hammer tune. It's on. It's actually on Bring It Down here.
Yeah.
We were tinkering with that.
I always like that one.
And at one time, you might be able to fill me in on this, but the radio, I remember driving in the Beretta on the way home, and they had played some live recorded version of "Walk with the Brave" at one of our shows on the radio. And I was sitting there cringing the whole time, like, hey, dirt, ooh, hey. 'Cause it's me. It's when I first started singing.
I do think I remember that. I think that we played wherever we played. They recorded it literally just on a cassette through the board.
Oh my God! Board mix, cassette, on the radio.
I just love the sound of raw DIs. No air in the mix. Give me more. Yummy, delicious.
I remember that. I remember I was on a date when they called me for that interview, and so I'm like literally sitting there next to my date, going, "I'm sorry." and I'm having to fucking record all this stuff while they're cutting it into the music. And I was on the phone with that guy for an hour, and I just kept going, "Don't leave."
Yeah, right. You know? Yeah, that's what it is. But I have to take this.
Yeah.
That means leave.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I remember all this shit, this fucking shit that comes out when you start. Yeah. Somebody goes, I remember that. Oh, wow. Now I do too.
Well, it meant something to me because I had just started trying to sing.
Yeah.
And I remember I did Kiss of Death by Dokken, played and sang it in the set. We did Another Day by Dream Theater, and I'm sure there was a couple other ones that I sang, and one was Walk with the Brave.
Yeah.
And we were doing Walk with the Brave in that band. I thought
that is pretty
I was
cool,
like, I'm singing in front of people.
Yeah.
And you guys are letting me.
But that's
idiots.
like skydiving, dude. I mean, that's like fucking adrenaline rush.
Especially when you're singing up all the time, you know, and you're doing that into a mic and watching people's reaction, you know.
Exactly.
I mean, that was falsetto, but I'm just saying full voice, just belting into a mic.
Well, that was the thing about Split Personality. Everybody sang.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love bands where everybody sings, man.
Yep. It was a good time.
I was the worst fucking one of. I mean, you and Jim and Tony were always doing harmonies, and I was like, yeah, I'll just sit over here. You know, this is the same way in Hong Kong Sleepover, man. I'm the worst fucking singer and musician I know, but it's like, okay, I'll do this and I can do that, and this. I'm a one trick pony guy. There's where my fucking pony is, right? Outside that, fuck you. Yeah.
And
but no, I always thought you fucking sang good, man. I really did.
Well, thanks, man. I have a totally different voice than you, so I always figured.
I couldn't believe it.
I always figured. Compared to what you could do with your voice, because you obviously can break your voice up beautifully. You had that grind. He can do that grind to where
I'm with the
you
grind.
know the when we did the Pantera stuff. I mean, he was already being able to kind of emulate that stuff, and that was so foreign to me to be able to do that with your voice. And so, if I did that, I'd be hurting myself.
See, I was born without a uvula, right? That thing that hangs down. I'm not kidding. The thing that hangs down the back of your
Thankfully,
throat.
you were also born without a vulva.
Right?
So,
exactly.
But he drives a Volvo.
The thing that hangs down the back of your throat, I don't have one. I had open soft palate when I was a kid, and so I had to have surgery when I was 18 months old, and they told my mother, your son will have a speech impediment his entire life, and he will never sing. They told her that when I was 18 months old.
And they were right about
both
that.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And I don't think I scream. I think I scream, and Pete goes, you're low or you're high. And so that's where I know where my fucking pitch is. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
So,
hey, man, you do with what you got. You know?
Exactly.
And that's what I love about what you're doing is just, you know, it's straightforward rock music, and it's cool. And to me, it's a lot of fun to watch because it's a bunch of guys having a good time.
And that's what we all said. I mean, we've all got jobs. If it becomes like another job, we're going to quit.
Right.
You know? Fuck that, dude. Suplex off the top ropes.
Hey, I want before we had the mics on, we were talking a little bit, and I wanted to say this again before I left.
Okay.
Because I know you said we were
we're getting
close
down
to the time.
It's countdown.
The one thing that you know, I was telling you, I really like the show, and I got to say this, I really am a fan. I'm not here blowing smoke up you. I have no reason to blow smoke up you guys' ass. The thing that I fucking love about the show is, you know, when I was 12 or 13 years old, I told my mom I wanted to play guitar. She took me to a music shop, and there were a lot of people around my age. I'm 43, so plus or minus 4 or 5 years. A lot of people, and I'm thinking, you know, Jim Mueller, Pete Thompson, Chad Dennis, Bob Simmons, a lot of these guys that I grew up cutting my teeth with. You know, Terry, people I used to play in Maniacs with 1,000 years ago. But it seemed like there were a lot of those guys that were in that age. And then if you went to other towns, Keokuk, Burlington, Canton, you know, places that were within an hour or two drive, there were a lot of those people. And I don't see that in the younger age groups. Like I saw, you know, that large group. It seemed like, you know, the 43-year-old, here's the big 43-year-old group, but then the other groups didn't fucking adopt it. Yeah. And so I love what you're doing because you're throwing this out there, and the first time I actually sat and listened to, you know, the first couple of episodes I started watching, which was when the guy from Kronos Resistor was on,
Billy. Yeah.
I started thinking to myself, fuck, I'm not alone. And some of the shit that I've
It'd have been Jacob Gregory.
It would have been Jacob Gregory?
Was the first.
Okay. Some of the things that I've seen, some of the things that I've done, some of the things that I've been involved with, I'm not fucking alone. And there's other people out there that have those fucking experiences. So I think that's great. And I'm really hoping that more and more people start to fucking watch the show, and more younger people start to watch the show, and maybe they start thinking, holy fuck, you know, the opportunities are here. Just like when I said, you know, if I was 19 years old again, I'd be all over sitting in my basement. If I was that Colin Keemel fucker guy that was in there a couple weeks ago, if I was that guy, I'd have 3 things. I'd have an amplifier, 2 guitars, and a car that would get me anywhere at the drop of a hat, and that was all I would fucking have. Right? And people, and the minute that anybody calls it, when you were talking to him about, you know, he says, I'm going to play a cover or whatever, and you were like, no. You should be out there, and I would love to see you grab that kid by the back of the neck and go, you go out there and you fucking play this original music.
He's in good company, man. He's around some good company.
He does keep some good company.
But I'm hoping more people start to see the show and start to think like that and start to want to do that. I'm really...
It's possible. You know, like, I'll give you an example. Just recently, you know, both of my daughters grew up, I played my rock music, and they kind of gravitated more toward... you know, pop and dance and EDM and all the stuff that's popular. And I think they both still listen to that. But the other day, I was having a conversation with Maddie about watching the Lord of the Rings movies, because she loves the Lord of the Rings movies. And I said, you know, there's songs that, you know, basically talk about this movie. And she's like, what? Really? I said, yeah. So I played her Ramble On by Led Zeppelin, where it says the line about Gollum, right? And she's like, wow, you know, oh my goodness, this is a good song. And then I played The Wizard by Black Sabbath, right? And she gets that and she goes, oh, I'm really enjoying this, Dad. I'm like, oh, thank God. Thank God in Himmel, because
that is hilarious.
I thought to myself, my daughter is never going to love heavy metal. And if she likes Black Sabbath, that is it, dude. She's going to fucking crawl inside Black Sabbath. She's going to hear every fucking awesome riff ever. She's just musical enough. She could start playing bass or something.
Black Sabbath is like the gateway drug.
It is, dude.
You start listening to Sabbath, and everything else falls into place from there.
The gateway drug.
She was going, man. I heard her going, never walking, never
getting that hook.
Yeah, I heard her doing it, and I thought, oh, she got the bug now. So it can come back, man. It can definitely come back. I think you're right.
But I appreciate that, Ted. And like I said, when I found out you listen to the show, of course, every time I hear about somebody that listens to MDR, and they say, hey, man, by the way, I like your podcast thing that you do. I'm like, you listen to it? You know, like I said, I thought that maybe my mom and a couple other friends might listen to it, and this is actually doing pretty well. And like I said, I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I mean, all I'm doing is talking. I'm just lucky that there's people that will listen to it and have fun. I think what our thing is, we finally figured out what the main course here is, and it's just like storytelling and talking about the glory days and all them things, and talking about the things that we've all been through and we can all relate to, and we never really had a place to put some of the stuff that we remember or think of, you know, and this is where we come to I
got a body full of love and I don't know where to put it. So and by the way, I owe you a hearty you know, fuck off for your band canceling down at I think Purgatory. Yeah. My roommate Brad Smith, he took his date down there. You were supposed to get my roommate laid, and you guys didn't be there.
Shame on Brian.
Yep, shame on Brian. So
sorry about that.
Yeah. Brad Smith. I told him. I told him.
Yeah, we had some illness in the band. You know, at our age, man, we'll cancel gigs at the drop of a hat. We don't give a shit.
Right, kidney stones.
Yeah.
I left my fucking Doan's pills at home. There's no way I can unload the truck.
Well, actually,
I got a case of the hot piles.
To be honest with you, we had a bad case of the
right.
Exactly. That's what I was looking for.
We had a bad case of the Lynn Allen CD release party.
Really?
The same night. So
everybody was a little.
We were down with that. And also on top of that, though, we had Matt Finn had hurt his back. Our drummer, he had hurt his back. He could barely walk. So
fuck balls.
You know, why do all that to play to people, you know, that aren't going to be there until about midnight, maybe after the Lynn Allen thing. And plus, I didn't want to compete with it. I wanted to build to have a good night too. You know,
exactly.
And we're an expensive band. I mean, we're at my age, I'm not leaving the house for less than a certain amount of money anymore. And,
I don't blame you.
And I just told the bar, you know, and this is something people could learn too.
Yeah.
You know, you're making money from a bar, you know it's going to be a bad night. Don't just show up and fuck the bar.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that ain't cool.
Yeah. Call them and say, look, here's an out for you. We'd be glad to reschedule some other time, but look, there's this thing going on down the street. We're probably not going to have a decent draw. You're going to lose money tonight.
I got to build up a uric acid in my joints.
Right.
That's what gout is.
Yeah, is that what gout is?
That's what gout is.
It's old man shit.
But
quit drinking fucking hams in the garage and you're going to be all right.
I apologize for not getting you laid next time. I guarantee it. But like I said,
that's hilarious.
Thanks for all the people that are going to be part of this All-Star Jam on June 6th, man. I can't wait to do this thing.
Oh, it's going to be a blast.
these lineups are just fucking awesome.
It's fun.
It's gonna be fun. But anyway,
Love all these
episode
guys.
37 of Minor Disturbance Radio, and I appreciate all the likes and the shares and the comments and all that stuff, man. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, because that's really where it's at for us. If we want to have sponsors and stuff and be able to take this to the next level, it's all about getting subscriptions on YouTube channel. So I appreciate it. Thanks, guys, for being a part of MDR, and we'll see you next time, man.
11:52.
Thanks, guys, very much for having me on. I really
Thanks, Ted.
appreciated it.
Dude, that was a blast.
Rock on,
Yeah,
man.
dude,
Great to
I'm
meet
glad
you, man.
It's great to meet you,
Dude, we
man.
got a ton of shit in common,
I know.
too.
Like I was like,
What the
I
fuck?
was like, Travis is gonna fucking want to kill me, or he'll be like, I was waiting for you to just be like, the Encyclopedia Britannica, Volume 9 says you're a fucking retard. and
That's
here's why.
right.
Oh shit, I said that.